Hi there. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jen Rowland. I am a certified mental health coach as well as a fitness and nutrition specialist. And like all of you, I also struggle with neuropathy and chronic pain. So Michael had asked me to make a video on neuropathy and mental health based on my own experiences dealing with chronic pain over the past 3 years. And then I was actually just recently diagnosed in spring of 2021 with idiopathic small fiber neuropathy. So today I'm just doing a really short video to share 8 things that we can do to help improve our mental health in the midst of living with neuropathy. So the first one, and I'm just starting really simple, is to drink more water. So we should be drinking about half of our body weight in ounces of water. So a 200-pound person should be drinking about 100 ounces of water a day. Water is especially important to reduce inflammation. It flushes toxins out of our body, and it also helps ensure proper blood flow, which is really important for people with neuropathy because, as you know, nerves that aren't supplied with proper blood flow and adequate nutrients will die. And so the water helps to carry the nutrients to those cells. Things like caffeine, while fine in moderation, too much caffeine increases your heart rate and your blood pressure, and it puts extra stress on your body, along with the stress that you're already dealing with as a result of the neuropathy. So it's good to limit the caffeine to like 2 cups a day if you're talking about like something like coffee or caffeinated tea. And obviously you want to eliminate or at least very much limit alcohol consumption, and then artificial sweeteners are also something to cut out, mostly because they don't really take the calories out of our diet. They make us crave sweeter foods, and then we're more tempted to consume greater amounts of sugar, which is not a good thing. And so that actually brings me to the second thing that we can do to improve our mental health is to monitor our sugar intake. We know that one of the major causes of neuropathy is diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and we can help to temper our symptoms by monitoring what we put in our body. Okay, there have also been studies that have linked high sugar intake to increased symptoms of anxiety and depression. And so to both help our mental health and also to lower inflammation, we can consume things like more on a Mediterranean diet. That's the diet that a lot of people recommend for people that are dealing with chronic pain, because it does help to reduce inflammation, which for many people has a direct correlation to the pain that they're experiencing. All right, the third thing is to try to shift your bedtime so that you're getting 7 hours of sleep. Now, I know for many of us, sleep is very difficult to come by. I know in the beginning of my neuropathy journey, I would lay down in bed and all I could think about or feel was just the burning in my legs and feet, and it was impossible to sleep. And thank goodness I was able to find medication that does help me sleep. But regardless of what your situation is, whether you're on medication or not, having a wind down routine where you can calm your mind and your body before bed, whether that's getting off the computer or getting off screens, which we'll talk about in just a minute, can help you to sleep better. Okay, having a good mattress is also really important for good back support and for better sleep. So try to move your bedtime or shift your bedtime so that you're at least winding down and able to try to get a good night's sleep. Here's why that's especially important. Okay, we need stage 4 and REM sleep to avoid falling into the symptoms of anxiety and depression. See, when we don't get enough sleep, we are irritable and grouchy, okay, and we are more likely to experience anxiety, and even it can develop into depression. Chronic loss of sleep also has extremely detrimental effects on our health and can even shorten our lifespan. So it's really important that we aim to get 7 or more hours of sleep. And one way you can do that is about having that wind down routine, which brings me to number 4, which is to reduce screen time. So one thing that I've done to reduce my screen time time is to shut down my phone. I actually put a little notification on my phone where an hour before bedtime, it says it's like time to wind down, and my screen goes black, so that I have to actually purposefully unlock my phone in order to use it the hour before bed. That helps a lot of things. It helps, number one, me to get off screen so that I can have wind down time. Increased screen time has also been linked to anxiety and depression. And a lot of people who pick up their phone first thing in the morning and they're thrown into their emails and world news, which is very much depressing, are more apt to then experience symptoms of anxiety and depression. So staying off your phone first thing in the morning and staying off your phone or screens before you go to bed at night is going to help you get the sleep you need and also improve your mental health. Another thing with screens is, for many of us, when we're on the internet, we find ourselves searching for symptoms, for treatments, for doctors, and the incessant search for answers also is indicative of anxiety. We have to give it a rest, okay? And we have to engage in positive activities that fuel our mind and our body well. Okay, so whether it's reading a book or lighting a few candles or taking a bath or even watching something mindless on TV that lets your mind take a break and your body to slowly just wind down from the day, that's going to help you get more rest. All right, number 5. This one may not be as expected, but it's to identify unresolved hurt, anger, or unforgiveness. Now, this is something that a lot of us don't think about, but the truth is that when we are harboring anger or resentment or unforgiveness, it eats away at us and can contribute to anxiety and depression, which also contribute to pain. See, when we're carrying around stress and tension in our bodies, when we're anxious, okay, it actually tenses up our muscles in our physical body and causes an increase in our pain, which then affects our mental health. So our physical and mental, and I would also say spiritual health, are very much intertwined. Okay, if you're not taking care of your body, and you're not taking care of your emotions, okay, and you're not taking care of your mind, then the others are going to be affected. So identify that anger or resentment, okay, or unforgiveness, and then can confess that. And if it's an unforgiveness issue, whether it's approaching that person or if it's an anger issue that you just have to let go of, if it's out of your control. I know I had to deal with that personally. I had doctors for the first year and a half that were completely incorrect in my diagnoses and what was causing my pain. And when I found out that it was actually a neurological issue, I was so angry and frustrated that they didn't know. How could these doctors not know? And I really had to surrender that and let go of that and say, you know what, that's out of my control. I can either sit here and be angry about the past and what didn't happen the way I wanted, or I can move forward and do the best that I can moving forward to do the things that I know I need to do now that I do know what's going on with my body. And so it's really important to identify that anger or whatever negative emotions you're feeling, okay, and to experience them without judging them, and then to pray about how we need to act upon them. All right, number 6 is to replace faulty thinking. Okay, a little bit different than your emotions. Now I'm talking really about our thoughts. Okay, so here what I'm talking about is when we start to have what are called cognitive distortions or negative thinking patterns, what happens is it results in negative emotions, which then can turn into self-defeating or self-sabotaging behaviors. Things like binge eating or numbing out in front of the TV. Okay, they can cause dysfunctional relationships. And so really the transformation with neuropathy in terms of approaching our healing has to start in our mind. Okay, it has to start in our mind. We identify false beliefs and distorted ways of thinking, okay, so that they don't develop into negative emotions and then self-sabotaging behaviors. Okay, it's important that we deal with that early on. Okay. Obviously, we're all going to be going through a grieving process. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be upset and to feel sadness for what we've lost as a result of pain and chronic illness. But then we really do need to fix our eyes on what lies ahead and fix our eyes on things that are true and pure and noble and praiseworthy instead of the things that we really have no control over. So identify what's in your sphere of influence. Okay, what do you have control over? Okay, and then focus on those things and surrender those things that you can't control. All right. The next one is to move our body. So this is number 7. Movement is so important. And I know firsthand that when your body hurts, the last thing sometimes that you want to do is move. But moving actually helps alleviate anxiety and depression, as well as your physical pain. See, when I actually start moving my body, when I walk or I swim and I move my body in gentle ways that don't increase my pain, what I find is that that improved circulation not only releases endorphins that act as natural painkillers, but it also helps my mental health. Okay, it helps me clear my thoughts. It helps me take a break from the work that I'm doing during the day. And it just overall is important for you to be well. Okay. And it's still possible to have neuropathy and to be healthy. So don't let the enemy tell you otherwise. Okay. We might have a chronic illness, but there are still a lot of things that we have agency over that we can change so that we can move towards health and healing and wholeness. So if you haven't started doing any kind of exercise yet, or if you're anxious about exercising, just start with a simple walking program. I have someone that I'm working with now who was just walking to the end of her driveway and back. Just getting out of doors can also be extremely therapeutic. Okay, then maybe it's taking a walk down to the curb and back or to the corner. And then eventually work up to maybe walking around the block and walking for 10 minutes. If you need accountability, find someone that can walk with you. Okay, or maybe if you have a pet, maybe take your dog out and walk. But walking and swimming and gentle movement and core work, they're so important, okay, to stabilize our spine, protect our core, and to supply the nerves with the nutrients they need and just promote an overall sense of well-being. Okay, the last thing, I mentioned that our physical, our mental, and our spiritual health are very much intertwined, and I'm a very firm believer in that. So I think regardless of what your religious beliefs are, it is important to deepen your faith and grow spiritually. Why? Because it helps put our pain and our problems in perspective. Okay, when we take on an eternal perspective and we see that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves, we start to understand that our pain is actually here for a purpose, whether it's to get us to trust God or to walk along someone else that is struggling and help them in their pain. There is a purpose to it, and none of it is wasted if you choose to keep your eyes fixed forward on what lies ahead and not get stuck in the past or on focusing on what you've lost. Okay, so rather than focus on what you've lost, focus on what's left and the blessings in your life. Gratitude is an attitude changer, right? It's important to be grateful. Yes, we have a chronic illness, okay, but there are many worse off than us, and we can come alongside those who are struggling in their pain and relate to them in ways that other people that aren't struggling with chronic pain cannot. So whatever your faith beliefs are, deepen your faith through prayer, through meditation, okay? And consider one small way that you can walk more towards healing and wholeness. Okay, when we ground ourselves in our core values and beliefs, we can have a healthy identity that's not rooted in our diagnosis of neuropathy. It's not rooted in productivity, but instead we recognize that there is a God or there is a higher power that understands and compassionately cares for us, loves us, and wants to walk with us in our pain so that we can then bring light to other dark places in this world. So I pray that you would think about what's one step that you can take to move from a place of being unwell or anxiety or depression or feeling defeated or having a victim mentality to instead moving toward health, healing, and wholeness. So if this was helpful for you today, I would absolutely love for you to leave a comment below the video, or you can shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger, or even send me an email. My email is jenroland@gmail.com. It was a pleasure to speak with you today. God bless.